Second question that I have. I've been wanting to ask this question for a long time. Maybe that'll make the intro real. But so you pick on these guys like Jeff Wilson, like
We're back. Fanboys of Backyard Breaks have crunched some numbers. That's right. And they say that the big hits that the crop top boys in Florida have pulled, there might be a 1 to 3% chance of that actually happening. And hey, I gotta be honest, I actually like the math I saw. I agree with it in respect to the flawless cards. Two things though. None of the new math I saw accounts for the T-Law Gold Vinyl that they pulled, the Cade Cunningham Black Prism 1 of 1. I see conveniently that you guys who have done some math for Backyard Breaks have forgotten those cards. Secondly, none of the math means anything. And I'm talking about the Collector's Guru's math, any of the math I recently saw. None of the math means anything if trust is broken at the Panini manufacturing facility and Panini in general. Meaning, how do you dorks know these cards are making it into the product run to determine the odds? Nobody has visited the manufacturing plant. Nobody knows how these cards are handled. And nobody really knows if there's a possibility of loaded cases being set aside and not actually making it into the product run. I personally believe Panini should invite somebody like Collector's Guru out to the manufacturing facility, give them a tour, let them have free reign of the place, and let them come up with their own report, video, podcast, social media post on how they want to report on what they saw at the facility. And hopefully something like that would create inroads where more trust can be built between collectors and manufacturers. And I get that 90% of you guys watching blindly trust these card companies like Panini in America. You think that there's absolutely no possibility of anything ever nefarious happening. But there's a lot of collectors who have either been screwed over by redemption cards or been treated poorly by one of the customer service teams at these companies that don't have a lot of trust or faith in somebody like Panini America. I feel like I've opened loaded boxes before. That's right, the best card I ever hit was from a free box that Panini sent me.
You did.
If you remember back to 2014, we had the Odell Beckham situation where some of the best cards were being added into later editions of the product. So this type of thing can happen. Again, I get that 90% of you blindly trust Panini America, but for the other 10% of us out there, we'd certainly love to see some more transparency into the card making process so that some of these rumors and theories about somebody like Backyard Breaks might be able to be squashed.
That is a Tesla!
Jab's family defenders are back in full force. You remember he was charging $4 shipping to get your 2022 Topps Chrome SP pack from him. Do you dorks who defend people like Jab's family really think it's a good idea, who have dealers who nickel and dime their customers? I know of no other group breaker who was charging to get these packs, by the way. Does it make customers want to return to your guys' precious little hobby that when Topps messes up, you have greasy card dealers still trying to weasel $4 out of you guys for shipping? Hey, you guys will defend anybody in this industry. Jabs is somebody who pushes little kids out of the way for foul balls at baseball games, similar to that guy Zach Hampel. Jabs got rid of his dog because it was being too loud during a group break. And yes, Jab's wife literally divorced him because he was paying too much attention to baseball cards. But you guys out there will defend this guy probably no matter what he does. That's just the way of life in the hobby. And last thing, we have a guest on the show. His name is Luke. You can see that he left this comment on one of our videos. And hey, most people around the sports card world would block, mute, or simply ignore this guy. Instead, over here at Sports Card Radio, we give him a call and we invite him on the show, and you guys out there can see the conversation we had and what it evolved to. Again, I never met this person before in my life and just invited him onto the show after he left this comment on Sports Card Radio. That's right, haters don't get blocked, haters don't get muted, haters have a voice here at Sports Card Radio. And here's the conversation that me and Luke had, and I hope you guys enjoy your Friday and enjoy your weekend. Let's see if the Lakers can win a game. All right, we're going to bring Luke on and see what he has to say. Let's turn on the music, though. My man, Luke Skywalker, what you got for me tonight?
I just have like two questions.
Got you, buddy.
And I enjoyed the banter in the comments. That was fun. I've often been critical of the channel. I'm not going to be critical on how hard you guys both work. The one question I have is, and I know this isn't your target demographic, but say like a 14-year-old, this is a hypothetical, I don't want to go here right away. A 14-year-old clicks on this, they see Sasha T, you're making fun of the pool thing, you know? So like, this is a niche example, but like, do you worry that there's any aspect of the content that doesn't want some up and coming kid to start hustling like you and your brother have? Do you think that's a potential negative outcome?
Negative outcome as in people wouldn't want to get involved with cards. Am I understanding you right?
Cards or more the content side of it?
Worry that new people or worry that somebody like Sasha T, somebody already involved? Like some of the people that maybe I pick on, I guess.
Yeah, not the people you pick on. I don't think it probably doesn't bother them. We don't know. But I'm saying, like, I'm sitting here, I'm 12 years old. I'm like, I'm going to make my first YouTube video. But then that fear gets in their head of, oh, I'm going to get picked on when I say something stupid on camera. Like, are we hurting the next generation of those guys you pick on?
It's a valid point. I think whether it comes from me, you get picked on, whether it comes from the comments, whether it comes from the outside world, I think, that's probably happening more and more. And that's probably just something you have to deal with, the criticism. Even the guys who post like super positive content and, hey, maybe I've picked on these guys, but this is like, seen as positive content, good, well produced, good for the hobby, however you want to equate to it. So these guys get picked on, like the Card Collector 2s, the Mojo Sports autographs. Guys, it's really G-rated content, and that's kind of their lane, and they do an unbelievably excellent job. And those guys will get hammered by the commenters and, more than people just like me. So I think it's just something maybe you just have to naturally deal with. I think, yeah, I mean, your example of a 12 or 14-year-old kid sitting there and watching it and being discouraged, certainly that's not something I would want to do. I certainly hope it's not.
I doubt that's happening, like looking at your demographics and stuff.
It
Like
could, but it could. I know that the demographics skew a little older for who watches me. I don't know the demographics of other YouTube channel. I know that when I look at mine, it's more like 30, like people more 35, 40, 45-year-old guys, male, highly male, like 97% male. So, but I do know that some younger kids watch the videos. In our old podcast, I mean, somebody could go through and make a clip reel of some of the stuff we used to say. It would be 10 times worse than anything we've ever said on these videos. So it is a conscious choice to keep the language, at least for the most part. I know on the live stream, it can get a little loose because it's like it's live and you're just like sitting there the whole time. And I'm naturally a little loose with language and use a lot of bad language. So, but it is a conscious choice on these videos to make them, at least in terms of language, as G-rated as possible. Because I do know that younger people watch.
And there's so few sports card channels that get clicks. So like there's just a higher likelihood. It's just a smaller niche. And the thing that you and your brother do well is you drive emotion. Like you leave one of your videos feeling something, which probably has really good view duration.
I'm stunned. To be honest, I'm stunned by how many people watch the videos. Totally stunned. Totally shocked. I see that 30,000 people in 24 hours have watched, and I'm just like, is that real? And then, it's 500 comments. It's engagement. Like you said, it's kind of, depending on the video, it can be very much both sides of the aisle in terms of reaction to us. My brother, like you said, you could be Card Collector 2, Sports Card Investor, Mojo, us, and you're going to get heat. So me and my brother over 14 years have withstood a lot of heat, not necessarily on YouTube, but more like on Twitter and social media and some of our comments. And even in real life, I've had real life confrontations with some of these people in the sports card world. So you just kind of get used to that. And I think probably there was a shock when we started making videos. People were like, whoa, these guys will just say whatever they want. And me and my brother kind of looked at each other and be like, we've been doing this for 14 years. It just was over on the podcast side. certainly not as many viewers. And I'm totally shocked by how many people watch these things, especially lately. And it's certainly, try not to let that impact the content. I'll still try to say, things how I see them. Not necessarily that that's how they are or that's the truth. That's just how I see them.
No, I appreciate that answer. I guess the second question that I have, I've been wanting to ask this question for a long time. Maybe that'll make the intro real. But so you pick on these guys like Jeff Wilson, like people that are making products, the people that make content, then sell you something. So again, this is hypothetical, but do you not want people to try to innovate and grow the hobby, add new tools, use that eBay API as they'd like, and build stuff like that? Or do you just want like the content to stop and we just all go on eBay and look at each other? Like what's the future of sports cards? What would you like to see?
I think I'm trying to get better at these new companies that are coming along, whether it be like you're talking about an app that analyzing pricing. And I'm a subscriber to Card Ladder, I believe. It's like $15 a month or something. I use it. I use it a couple times a week, mainly just to look up, honestly, cards for that I'll talk about in the videos because I'm not totally up on price. I buy a lot of cheaper cards. So I am personally trying to get better at new companies coming along and giving them a shot and not burying them. And I think that's probably been a problem in the hobby for before the sports card boom. We're talking about from 2010 to 2015, 2016. You couldn't come along with a new idea. It was really hard to do that. It wasn't really until after the card boom happened, all these new people flooded in, all the old ideas, and the old people kind of, were on the outside looking in and being like, wow, what's happening? And some of these new ideas have come along and been really good and pushed the hobby forward. We've seen, I think with pricing alone, like you said, with the eBay API, I think people are doing things with that and organizing pricing in a way that was non-existent just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, because we were just like messing with this dumb stuff.
With that dumb stuff, or you had to do it yourself. You had to get TerraPeak. There were ways to kind of source the data or whatever, but it was very hard. Whereas now I could literally grab the app, type in Michael Jordan rookie card, and look at a 2-year price history, look at the recent sales. They can show me ones that are currently for sale. And I think it's a very useful thing. So personally, I think in the past, I've been bad at criticizing new businesses and just hammering them and that idea sucks. It's a bad business idea, right? Really good at that. I think I definitely consciously have tried to get better at, okay, let this grading company hang around for a little while before I say anything about it. I think the example is like Tag Grading or something has been around for a few months. Yeah. And I've tried to just, hey, let them grade some cards, let people use it, let people who actually grade cards. I don't even grade cards, so I probably not something I should comment on until maybe I get one in my hands or actually see it. Or actually I hear from people who use the service. So I'm trying to get better at letting kind of new companies breathe, giving them a shot. Now, as far as somebody like Jeff Wilson, I think my brother and I have always tried to punch up, if you know what I mean.
You're not doing anything wrong with Jeff Wilson. It's a good bit. You're not like defaming.
Well, Jeff Wilson could be a stand-in almost for anybody with more subscribers or a bigger following or a louder voice, or somebody kind of higher up in the food chain than my brother and I. So we've always tried to punch up. I definitely feel bad at times if I come across as belittling card collectors or belittling content creators who maybe haven't had the exposure that my brother and I've had because we've been doing it for so long. Honestly, if people just stuck around and been doing content for as long as we have, they'd probably be doing as well or better than we have. So it's a conscious choice for us to try to punch up to somebody like Jeff Wilson, PSA, the grading companies, the card companies, the distributors, right? People higher on the food chain, content creators or collectors or businesses that haven't got a jump start, I'm personally trying to get better at not hammering them unless they make some kind of like big mistake, right?
Like
Or
HGA
blunder
level
or
mistake. And the problem that you
Sure.
guys had to deal with was when the boom happened, all of these people were making apps. Everyone was grading cards. Most of them sucked. So it was probably easy to get carried away. And I think, in my opinion, that kind of happened, but I appreciate your answer. And I feel like you and your brother come from a level-headed aspect with some embellishment. And
For sure.
it's with a lot of embellishment, and like even
Right.
like I'll leave like this was nonsense, but like even though I hate some of the things you say, it's still entertaining. So I watch all the videos, and I love trying to write something in the comments to get you to reply. That's like the other game of it for me, because it's like
The
what
comments are amazing for me.
what
Yeah.
can I write that he actually replies? Because you don't reply to most of them.
It's true. I wish I could. Honestly, I definitely probably see most of them. I don't ever delete comments. People say, "Oh, you delete this." No. You can come in and say whatever you want. It's YouTube probably has some kind of weird thing, or maybe you said a certain word or something triggered something. But I try to let people come in and say whatever they want. I wish I could respond to all of them. It's amazing. Some of those videos get like 500 comments, and I'm just like, wow, this is. And actually, for me, I would look at it as a good sign for the card industry that there's this much activity on somebody like me and my brother who are just making these videos that don't take a lot of time, quite often, and there is a lot of activity and a lot of engagement on them. We do embellish stuff. Some of my favorite podcasters and some of my favorite things, people that I enjoy, not in the sports card niche, but kind of these weird stuff that I pay attention to, really go over the top. And I mean, we were driving back from Vegas and we were listening to a guy, and I can't even repeat what he said. And I almost was like, me and my brother were just sitting there laughing, be like, could you imagine if we said that? Like, and this guy has literally like one of the largest podcasts in the world. I mean, we're talking about millions of viewers, not tens of thousands or thousands. So I always sometimes feel like, man, I kind of have to tone it back, or probably certainly if anybody listens to our old podcasts, I mean, some of those get pretty raunchy and the language is pretty bad. Again, the downloads are in the hundreds, if not thousands on those. And so certainly with these videos, we're trying to be a little more conscious. Hey, clean up the language. And certainly to your point, to these new companies and giving people a shot, because I think that actually is important to push the industry forward and maybe have another boom or another kind of upward cycle or kind of renewed interest in cards. Some of these companies and businesses are going to have to kind of move forward and be like leaders.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I agree with you. It's not all sunshine and rainbows right now. It feels like not the best time, but I hope at one point it can be a little bit more fun.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, let's go for it.
How long have you been? Are you a collector? Are you a buyer and seller, or like what's your angle?
My angle is more for fun. I'm kind of a bit of both. I was definitely one of the COVID people. I'll raise my hand to that. With the stimulus money, I even have like a sports card channel that has like 200 subscribers that I gave up on because I would be.
We'll shout that out right now.
I don't post on it anymore.
Okay.
There's no need to promote it.
Okay.
But no, I was definitely one of those people that came in with new money, no idea what I was doing, that I just started making content. Then I'm like, actually, I don't love making content, but I still love cards, so I still do a lot of collecting. But yeah, like I have a ton of stuff. I love going to shows. I have the stupid HGA thing. Like this is like the peak COVID purchase. HGA card. New kid on the block. Doesn't know what he's doing.
I bought an HGA slab tonight. I mean, full disclosure, I bought an HGA slab tonight and probably last night too. So I mean, if they're cheap, I'll buy them. I'll buy whatever.
I do too. Like I'll raise my hand to being a COVID boy, and I'm happy I did because it's been very fun to get back into it.
Can you look a lot younger than me? Can we throw out your age? I mean, we can't blame you for being a COVID boy. How old are you?
27.
Oh shit! Jeez, you're a little baby. Oh my god! Yeah. So we don't blame anybody in their 20s for coming along in the last few years. We welcome you guys. I remember going to the Dallas Card Show. It was like May 2021, and I used to go to these card shows, and there'd be like 12 people, right? And 6 of them I'd know, right? I'm going to the show, and there were thousands of people, and nobody knew who I was like one of the most kind of enlightening kind of things for me, and was like blew my mind. And actually standing in line at a card show maybe a few months before that in San Francisco and talking to a guy, and he was talking to me about how he flipped these Josh Allen cards, and he'd get them and he'd grade them and he'd just shoot for 10s and he wouldn't care how many 9s he got. And it was like he was talking to me and it all made sense. And I'm like, man, there's all these guys who have flooded into this hobby who are actually really sharp, really smart, think about cards in a different way. And that's really important. So people like you are actually really important because you've come into this hobby and thought about things differently than I have, differently than the guys older than me. And I think that's really important. What has made you, so you kind of came in around COVID, and you say you're kind of doing it for fun. What has made you hang around? Because it's been a few years. I mean, we're talking a couple of years. What has made you hang around?
When I got into it, two of my good buddies got into it. So that's been like two core friends that live within 10 minutes of me. That has been a big part. And then just going to the local shows. There's a lot of shows up here in Minnesota. And like these churches and Knights of Columbus just have these little shows and just walking around. That's my favorite part.
And isn't there a bit, I don't know, it might be old school guys, but there's like a Twin Cities Collectors Club, or TSCC or something.
You should pull up. Yeah, you should pull up that website on a next video and roast it because it's terrible. It's like this. Well, it's better.
Have you seen my website lately? I mean, come on.
There's nothing wrong with your WordPress site. Like this is like written on JSON and like it's some DDoS thing. It's terrible.
I know that website. I know exactly what you're talking about. But it does have the dates of the show.
They have the coolest stuff. Like there's these people with like random stuff, and like they got the vintage stuff. You're trying to complete sets. It's like, no, I'm looking for some football rookie card. So it's kind of like a museum with those weirdos.
So are your friends that you kind of got involved with it, are they still in cards too? Mm-hmm. They haven't left either?
They probably spend more than me. I feel like a gateway drug on cards.
So you just, what do you like to do with your cards? You buy them and then what? Do you like to show them off? You like to display them? Like what's kind of your main thing? Like what do you like? Do you like to look at them? Like what's kind of your thing?
I like to collect like weird cards. They're out. I can't go get them. I disconnect from the microphone. I like to collect like the Allen and Ginter, like National Park cards, the weird A and G parallels. I like to collect Fortnite cards. I like to collect Jacksonville Jaguars stuff mainly. It's mainly like, what is the weirdest thing I can find on ComC, throw it in the cart, and ship it here.
Do you sell on ComC too? I buy all the time on there.
Not as much as I should. I have the latest batch I sent to him is like 2 months behind.
And why do you use ComC?
It's easier
than eBay and all the other sites.
Yeah, it just takes less time.
Because you're kind of getting it all from one and shipping it all from one.
Yeah, if I make less money and don't have to ship it or drive to the post office, I feel like that's a net positive.
Are you buying every day, or is it like every week, or what's your kind of cadence?
I probably buying one card a week. I'm not a whale. I'm not like the biggest hobby person. I pay a lot of attention to the hobby. I'm not putting a ton of capital in and out of it. But I pick my spots.
How do you see things, we've had a decline in card prices and stuff. How do you see things going kind of through the remainder of the year? I mean, card wise, where are we at?
It's been weird with the NFL not scoring a lot of points. So I feel like all the quarterbacks haven't been doing that well. I feel like all the cards will go down until the premier quarterbacks that are going to make the AFC or whatever championship are going to emerge. I honestly don't know. I don't know if we'll start to get those weird little spikes with F1, with golf. Will like Live Golf make some of those other Brooks Koepka cards go up? Who knows? I'm not into basketball. Zero clue what's going on there. Baseball, right. I think baseball is very overpriced. And to your point, like it's priced in a lot. Like when you're buying a Blaze Jordan, I have zero interest in that. It's like priced in he's going to win 3 MVPs and the Triple Crown. I don't know. Yeah. I think they're going to keep crashing a lot. And then who knows? I'm kind of happy sitting on the sidelines until Panini and Fanatics get all this stuff cleared out.
Right. Yeah. That might happen in the next couple of days, hopefully.
Yeah.
What's the vibe at the shows? What's you say go to the shows up there in, what do you say, Minnesota? What's the vibe of the dealers and the other people at the shows?
it's Minnesota, so it's like everyone's nice, everyone's happy go like it's fake. I can't say it's good or it's bad because everyone's just happy to be there.
How many table how many table shows are these usually? What give us the size kind of? What are we talking about? 50 tables?
I would
100
say
tables?
40 to 50 tables.
Oh, so good stuff. You usually can probably find some good stuff there.
You can find some good stuff, and the cool thing about the Minnesota shows is there's something for all ages because of the Collectors Club. If you see older people there than at the National, because they can complete their 1972 set of the one random card they're looking for.
Those guys have been putting on shows since before. I mean, our website. I mean, maybe from like the 80s. I mean, maybe before I was even born. So I mean, those guys. I mean, I remember always kind of seeing their show schedule, and it's always consistent. And it's always every year. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So it's lucky you live up there because actually. We don't have shows actually shockingly out here that I can go to. So it's even like small shows like that. So even out here in California, it's crazy.
If I didn't live here and they didn't have that, I'd probably be out of cards. But like there's always something to do on a Saturday. It's like, let's just go to this random mall and look at these old people's cards.
Oh, that's a must. Yeah. Card shows are the best. Luke, you got anything else for Sports Card Radio? You got any other questions? You got any other concerns? You got any other?
No. I also work for a YouTube channel, just like you guys. Understand the content game. I think you guys do a really good job, even if I watch a video and leave a little unhappy. But I've been wanting to ask you, like, what do you want to happen? Like, okay, we rip on this, we rip on that, we criticize this. Like, what are we looking for? So I felt like behind the curtain, you and your brother are humans. You understand what you're doing. And I like these answers. So I thought this was fun. And it was good to chat, and just wish you the best of luck on the channel.
I wish you the best of luck as well, especially on your pursuit of allening into cards. And if you ever want to stop by and have a little chat, let me know. Just jump in the comments and then you get a link. I mean, see how fast this happened? You literally like dropped me a StreamYard link and I was like, all right, I'm sitting here like the football game's over. Like I got nothing to do. I was like, all right, yeah, let's do this. So we'll have a little chat.
For sure.
It's always fun.
Take care. This was fun.
Appreciate you, brother.